things that you need to quit right now is to stop trying to please everyone.
That's impossible.
It is. And people will get hung up on this real quick. They get defensive about this one. They say, well, no, I don't do that. I don't think, but do I do that? And suddenly their mind is spinning as am I a people pleaser? And then they want to begin defending what they do by saying, but why is it bad for me to want the people that I'm close to be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it bad for me to want to make them happy?
Mm-hmm.
And I have no response to that other than, oh, that's not bad at all. But there is a completely different dynamic to being a partner in a relationship, regardless of what kind of relationship it is or what level we find it at.
Welcome to another episode of What to Say and How to Say It. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 things you must quit in order to make your relationships healthy. And we're going to be hearing these things from our favorite licensed professional counselor, Kyle Hargrove. He works with these people on a daily basis in therapy to help them stop doing the stuff that's getting in their way. And so let's dive into the 5 things we're going to quit right now to make all of our relationships better. Kyle, what's that first one? Something to do with people pleasing.
How you doing, Nina? Good to see you. You are ready to go. I can tell
I
you're
am.
supercharged. So, yeah. Let me just kind of preface that just a smidge, if you don't mind. This is something that I don't take credit for these 5 things at all. I don't even know where I found them or saw them or whatever. But as soon as I did, I knew, it's one of those things you say and you see it and you say, I got to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have it, got to use it, got to put it in action because it is so applicable to literally every client that I see. If not one, all 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, they blow themselves up.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Right.
Yes.
And me too. I don't want to sound judgmental there. Like, we all have these phases, but knowing what these 5 things are is a big deal. It'll help them change their relationship.
This is like, people pay what they pay for therapy and so forth, but this is like, but wait, there's more.
Uh-huh.
For no extra charge.
Yeah.
You get these 5 things that you get to carry with you for the rest of your life. And when I share this with my clients, I share the document with them and I say, print this 5 times. And put it in 5 places where you're going to see it frequently. Because to change habits and to reroute our brains to do something different by default, we've got to see it a lot. We have to have it in our face. We've got to be reminded of it. We've got to be thinking about it. It has to literally dominate the landscape of our brain for a period of time before it becomes the natural thing that we do. So to get started, the first thing in the 5 things that you need to quit right now is to stop trying to please everyone.
That's impossible.
It is. And people will get hung up on this real quick. They get defensive about this one. They say, well, no, I don't do that. I don't think, but do I do that? And suddenly their mind is spinning as am I a people pleaser? And then they want to begin defending what they do by saying, but why is it bad for me to want the people that I'm close to be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it bad for me to want to make them happy?
Mm-hmm.
And I have no response to that other than, oh, that's not bad at all. But there is a completely different dynamic to being a partner in a relationship, regardless of what kind of relationship it is or what level we find it at. A completely different dynamic in being a pleaser in terms of being a giver, in terms of, making sure that you're aware of the people's needs in your lives and things like that. And there's a difference between that and just giving yourself over to every whim and every breeze, no matter what the direction it comes from.
Yep.
Because people pick up on that and they begin to use you. They begin to manipulate you. You then develop resentment.
Yep.
And then you also start calling yourself bad names. And there's a lot of different things along those lines that we start to do when we slip into, without ever knowing we did it. All I wanted to do was make sure everybody was happy.
Yeah. It's
The next
impossible.
thing you know, you're being manipulated and used and even abused in many situations because you have a good heart.
Well, and there's a balance there between that good heart space and trying to purchase respect, love, admiration, whatever. It never works. And if there's any underlying, well, if I don't do this, they'll be XYZ, unhappy, upset at me, whatever. I need to make them happy. If there's pressure around that, that's usually the recipe for resentment later. And it always surfaces later.
Yeah. And you don't have to be held hostage to please other people.
Right.
And a lot of people that you've seen it, I've seen it. Anybody who listens to this or watches this podcast is going to be able to point to someone in their life, if not in their family.
We just got back from a family vacation, right? And it's an interesting dynamic when you get a bunch of adults. All my people are adults now. And it doesn't matter whether it's family vacation or just where are we going to go for dinner and we all are together. It's like everybody's got an opinion, right? Yes. And so then you have this space to navigate, and you got not just our family. I'm going to hear this is like the topic of the summer because everybody's doing these vacation things. It's like, well, I really wanted to go over there, but I sacrificed what I wanted because they wanted to do this. And then I was disappointed because we didn't do that, and there's all this drama wrapped around it, which if we could just, navigate collaboration and set up something that works for everybody and everybody gives, you have rational discussion around it versus one person deciding, oh, I just don't care. It's fine. Do whatever you want. I'm happy with whatever, when they're not. And only they know if they're lying. Right. Yeah. So that's a thing. Anything you want to add about this people pleasing thing?
It's a tight work. It's a balancing act. I don't think there's any question about it. So don't hear me or us saying that you can do this and it's not a challenge. You can do this and it's always easy, because it's not. But here's the thing about trying to please everyone. See, this is how we make our living, okay? Because we take one thing and we say, oh, by the way, if you're trying to do this, it's probably a pretty good bet that you have issues with setting boundaries.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And so, okay, there's another 6 weeks of therapy. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. No, that's not what we do. But it's true.
It is true.
If you have a difficult time trying to please everyone, the likelihood is really strong that you struggle setting personal parameters and boundaries for yourself that protect you from being manipulated and used and taken advantage of, and keep you from finding yourself in that bubble of resentment that is exhausting.
Yeah.
It just taps you of every micron of energy that you have when you're resentful, because it never goes away.
And people don't believe that they're going to end up there because they feel so good when they start, and then they're surprised later, and then they blame the other person. And so that is a big point for all of us. They must quit people pleasing, even if we think we don't need to. That's why there's so many books about this stuff out there.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's shift gears. Let's talk about number 2, which is fearing change. We need to stop fearing change.
Stop it. Just stop it.
That works. Okay, I'm better now. What?
If you've never checked out the Newhart video on YouTube called Stop It, you have to take out 6 minutes and 31 seconds of your, not that I've watched it.
Really? You seem to know that pretty well.
Yeah. You got to take a minute out to watch that, watch it all the way through. It is dynamite, good old school SCTV comedy. And it's it's a therapeutic jewel. And I frequently make that the first homework assignment for my clients, so that they think it's going to be easy every time. But fearing change, man, I mean, I think all of us do, but we have different levels of tolerance for it. Change tells us things about ourselves we don't want to hear. Okay. Knowing that I'm about to go through a change causes me to start questioning everything about me, at least in that area, and maybe in other areas as well. And the the fact of the matter is that whether we realize it on paper or not, change creates chaos in our lives. Mm-hmm. Even good change, even change that leads to much better things in our lives, that leads to a greater level of contentment. Mm-hmm. That makes us more efficient. Lots of things, sometimes at work we get told, voluntold, we called it, that we're going to make some changes around here. Yeah. And that pretty much means everybody's going to be expected to do things in a certain way. That's not the way we've done it before.
Oh, that's so hard. I mean, I'm in a wagon in the Oregon Trail. My wagon wheels are in that trench and they've been there for weeks, months, whatever. And our brains, that's the synapses where we have those things. And then trying to get out of there, it is physiologically even really challenging. Our brain fights change, even good change.
Yes.
Yet people divorce after somebody gets healed of their alcoholism or drug addiction.
Let me tell you about that one.
Yeah, do talk about it.
Well, I mean, that's an absolute fact. It's the spouse or the partner of someone who is struggling through an addiction, begs them to get help, cries out for them to get help, threatens to leave if they don't, name it. The individual gets help. They get better. They come back a new person, rebuilt, remade. Mm-hmm. And the person who begged them to get help, suddenly they're living in this world of, what's my job now?
Right. Who am I?
Who am I? I used to be this person that had this role, and now that role's not needed. I don't think I'm needed anymore.
So by
the way, with the wagon wheel thing in the rut, that's a great analogy. Do you know what my definition of a rut is?
A very long grave.
A grave with the ends knocked out. That's right. That's right. A grave with the ends knocked out. There's no beginning and no end. And you can live in a rut.
People
Most
do.
of us do.
Yeah, I do.
People do.
Yeah.
But how fulfilling is that?
So we're in Cape Cod, and have this situation where something happened and we went home with these lobster crackers from a restaurant. Now, I'm not talking about the food you eat. I'm talking about the tools that you use to break open lobsters. Somehow we had these. Now, I'm not going to accuse anyone of doing anything, but the next day, my son had this. He wasn't with us that night, and he ended up having this incredible lobster dinner because we had done this thing. And I think I'm gonna lose all of our listeners with this story by the end of it, potentially.
You're working on losing.
Yeah, I am. What's her credibility, her character?
When I go to Cape Cod or Boston, I have lobster at least once every day that I'm there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, oh man, it is the best. I've never had it so fresh in my whole life, and I've had it a handful like my whole life. That's it, like 5 times maybe. It was amazing though. So I wanted my son to share in this. So I got him a dinner. And I'll just say that the crackers also came back to our cabin with us somehow. And I'm not going to accuse or admit anything there. But the next day, we're all feeling guilty because these are not ours, but he couldn't eat it without them. So I said, we got to take these back. So we were driving around. Well, the restaurant's closed. And I said, yeah, I said, so we need to give these back. And somebody said, well, you could just put them up on the window, the ordering window. And I said, I think I saw a truck in the back. Let's go around back. So there's this no trespassing sign around this fence that you have to go through to get to the back door. So
breaking
now
all kinds of laws.
I know, right? In a different state, I'm carrying stolen material, and now I'm trespassing. Okay, that's great. And I'm afraid. Just going to be honest. I had a moment of fear, and I was like, Lord, my heart, I'm about to do the right thing. This is kind of terrifying and exciting at the same time. Can you make this go well? So I bang on the door, and nobody comes. So I open the door and I stick now I'm really trespassing, right? And I'm like, hello, anybody here? Hello. And this woman comes around. She's carrying this enormous bag of coleslaw, and she looks really mad. And she goes, what do you want? And I said, okay, so And I held up the lobster crackers and I said, I'm really sorry. We stole these from you yesterday, and I feel terrible about this. And it was wrong of us to do that. And my son enjoyed the lobster dinner that we made, or that we picked up, that you guys made. It was fantastic. But I won't be able to sleep if we don't give you these back. And she's like, are you kidding me? This happens all the time. Thank you so much. You're such a good person. I can't believe that you brought these back. And she's gushing all over me. And I'm like, I don't deserve this at all. Like, not at all. But it was fun. Right. And I went back and I thought, I was just giddy. I mean, I was so full of energy, the endorphins, it was like a roller coaster ride going and doing that. But, when we're talking about fearing change, I'm like, that's the attitude I want. I want to step into change with, okay, I'm scared, do it anyway. I'm scared, do it anyway. Do it scared. That's what we say at Greater Impact is do it scared.
Were you by any chance in Cape Town?
No,
Okay.
We're over in Cape Cod.
In Cape Town, the rules and the laws are merely suggestions.
Okay, well, that sounds like Montana.
It's a crazy place on Cape Cod.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Like that.
You'll be okay. Nobody will be chasing you down and finding you for that.
That's awesome. Because anyway. So there's that. Yeah. So, but the point is that I recognized when we pulled up and somebody said, well, who's going to take these in? And nobody wanted to do this, right? This was a change. We're going to go enter conflict or who knows what, right? And I thought, I haven't challenged myself yet today. I'm going to do something scary. And I was all in. And I'm really glad that I did it. It makes for a story later, and hopefully people don't think too little of me now.
A great memory.
Yeah, but that's that fearing change. We can look at all change that way. Let's do it. What are we going to learn? This could be fun, because the physiological reaction we have when we're afraid and when we're excited, physically, heart rate increase, the endorphins, the little bit of cortisol, the adrenaline, all the same. They're both the same. Yeah. Fear and excitement.
But there are too many of us who look at changes like Eeyore, the donkey, and in Winnie the Pooh, never mind, I'll be fine. There's that kind of a thing. But we look at change like that and go, I don't want to, But I want you to remember something too. Something I used to hear frequently when I was working in the church. And they called it the 7 last words of the dying church. We've never done it that way before.
Ooh.
And can I attest to the truth of that statement, that people that say that are sure to die on the vine? No, I can't. But I can sure give you some samples and examples in my experience and in the history of me, where I've watched the life just seep out, sometimes rush out, of a place that would not adapt, that would not recognize the need for, that absolutely refused to change, whether it's an organization, a church, or an individual. Change is necessary. Change is most frequently good.
That's a really powerful, important point. Most of our listeners are Christian men and women who have been to the workshops. They've read the books, they've paid the therapists, and they're still stuck in conflict, desperate to save their marriages. And the big missing piece is change.
Yes.
And how do you do that? And, I won't get on a soapbox about Greater Impact and our coaching and stuff, but that's what we help people do. That's what you as a therapist do. And, we want to make sure that people are aware of that. And I just want to toss out there while we're at it, if you want to learn more about that, go to our website at greaterimpact.org, and you can grab a download, just a free little PDF called Stop Walking on Eggshells. And they'll give you some tips on, some of this kind of stuff. Because if you're a people pleaser, if you don't like change, if you're afraid to change, you're probably walking on eggshells. So Kyle, we have blown up the time with just those first 2 points of our 5 things to quit doing right now. So I'm going to say this is part 1.
Outstanding.
And so we're going to come back next time and talk about the 3 remaining things that we have to stop doing that will help us move forward in our relationships. Thank you so much. And you be sure, guys, to tune in to the next episode where you're going to learn more about dealing with conflict and how to level up all of your relationships, especially if you're stuck. Thanks for being here.